Good afternoon and welcome back to Science Fiction Retirement Library. I'm looking at my analytics of my library for the second time. It's now October 2025 and I think I looked at the first time when I first built this visualization in August 2025. You'll see at the top right hand side I've got V002, which is basically version 2, and I've done a few tweaks, a few bug fixes, a few new features, and obviously the data behind this visualization has changed over the 2 months because I've acquired more books, and in some cases I think I might have given away some books and sold some books, etc. I don't usually put the to sell list or for the charity list on here. It's usually the stuff I want to keep. But for example, if someone really wants a book, I've given them it in some cases, etc. So in terms of bugs, the main fix that I did here was on this panel, which was it was showing A. Van Vogt at the top because it was sorted by author name rather than I wanted it sorted by most books for that author within the collection. So Philip K. Dick is actually, if I hover here, is my most represented author within my collection with 51 books. And he, historically has been he was my favorite author in my 20s, so that makes sense. John W. Campbell was the second, only one book behind, but they're all pretty much editorials for anthologies. Asimov 44, A. Van Vogt 35, A. Van Vogt, and R.C. Clarke 34. And I had a feeling that this is quite similar to a lot of people's bookshelves or sci-fi lovers collections, vintage sci-fi lovers. Maybe Heinlein should be on there, and maybe if I get more anthologies, editorials, etc. This hasn't changed. It's just interesting to check in to see Pan is still my top represented publisher. That's not just lozenges. There's a lot in there, but I do like Pan. Panther Granada, which I grouped pretty early on, is pretty close behind. Golanx, which includes the sci-fi masterworks, etc., so more modern stuff. Sphere and NEL, which I've got a lot of love for these two as well. So that's the top 5 publishers. And then the only thing I kind of fixed is, I remember when I was showing the video in August, when I clicked on a specific book, which obviously the counts changed to 1, etc., is this here, the publication year, and decade. So this was okay because it was the legend, but the actual year that was published, which is shown here in granular data, was shown in the wrong format. I think it was shown, they were trying to show it as a date, time, or a date rather than the text. So that's been fixed. I fixed the filter as well, so that comes back here without expanding this. So that's pretty much the main bugs that I remember. There's been a lot of data behind it for the last 2 months in terms of book acquisitions and changes and sometimes giveaways and things like that. But the main thing you'll notice in terms of new features, there's 2 or 3 new features that I've added to help me investigate my library in more detail. Is the main one you'll notice is probably this, which is the cover gallery, let's say. Now, this cover gallery is actually based on ISFDB, if I've said that right, and if they've got the cover that I've got, in high 90% cases, I literally just have the URL linked, and I can click and I can expand it to that URL, and therefore I'm in ISFDB anyway. Now, in some cases, it doesn't have the exact cover, which is very, very rare, and obviously I haven't added all covers yet. I started the covers quite recently, so I'm doing it for new acquisitions, but I've got to go back if I want to do it properly, which I'm not going to pressurize myself to do. But in essence, this works with the ranges. So if I did want to look here, so I've got type that we know about called, let's say lozenge, then, that's a great start. So I've got a broken URL here. If I look at that, okay, so maybe there's something wrong with that. So there's another bug. And it's, if you're in software, that's constant. So here I've actually got, you can see, with my lozenges, anything that I've uploaded, and I haven't uploaded everything, that's actually the end, is a gallery based on that range. Now, if I've clicked on lozenge, and let's say I've got 78, you can see here, 71 that are really good, I could have forever, 7 I probably need upgrades. I could click on one specifically, let's say A Fall of Moondust, which I think I had a cover for one of these, maybe not for that one, for this one. Yeah, and it shows me the cover specific for that book as well, which is good. The ones that aren't on ISFDB, let me just come out of there. The ones that aren't on ISFDB, I've been putting on like my Google Drive and then creating a small view of it, like a preview. So when you click that, it doesn't really go anywhere, but I can at least see it within this view, which is enough to know which one I'm looking at. So that's really good. And on one of the other features, I'll show you how nice this is for me when I'm doing things like looking at TBRs, for example. So that's number one, is I've got covers here. And if I scroll while it's on the whole 1472, this is basically all the covers I've added so far. There's a good one. There's another bug. So it's all related to here. So yeah, really good. I've also wanted to do something up here where I had the all books, which is basically unique count from my database. And then and I've only got 2 condition flags deliberately because I don't want to go into I'm giving it a 1 or very good or a fine or a very fine or a VG minus or mint or near mint or whatever, because it would just get silly. I haven't got enough time basically, and I don't think it's that valuable for a collection of my size. So I've got good enough, which is this will be with me forever in my library, the physical library that I'm building, and this I'm keeping it because I want the book, but I wouldn't mind having an upgrade here. And this is growing. Both are growing, obviously, because I'm acquiring books for my library. But the thing I changed was I can now click on these. So you see this one doesn't show the hand. These two show the hand. It's because I can then quickly just click on need upgrade, and it will show me the books that I need an upgrade for. So, for example, this is a recent acquisition, which is always great to get a Neuromancer copy, but it's pretty battered. And it tells me straight away, and then I can go here as I need a good quality Pebble in the Sky. A good quality is that Count Zero. This one, not so good. And this more modern Asimov Foundation, Complete Stories one. That wasn't Foundation, Complete Stories. And then obviously I can use multiple. So I could say need upgrade for Lozenge. And that will take me back to that 7. I haven't actually got the covers for this, but at least I can say, okay, Frankenstein Unbound, which actually I probably keep anyway because that was my dad's, but these are the ones that I need an upgrade for. So it's a quick way of doing that. So if I remove that 165, I could also say, okay, well, that's changed now to the top 5, saying the most upgrades I need in terms of author is Michael Moorcock, which we kind of know anyway because I've had all of those wobbly books that I've been trying in the press. So if I click that as well there, I can get to the 11 and I can see the ones I need. So pretty much all Mayflower, which are pretty flimsy anyway. I do need a better copy of the Ice Schooner, which someone did offer me the other day, which was quite nice. So you can see how I can start to drill down and find information. But the key really is what questions I should ask, basically. It's the questions I should ask and then allowing myself to get the answers. So there's no good enough within this range. This equals this, of course. If I go back to the clear filter, I can also do the same for good enough. So it will range out the 1307. So the Swarm, for example, which is one of the first ones, or Several Minds, these are good enough forever for my collection. So those cards, we call them cards, are now clickable entities. So let me come out of there. So back to the beginning. So the other thing I added, it was added within the data set, but then I added it within the visualization. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is one of the filters down here. And that's my TBR. So I used to use Goodreads for book reading, want to read, and then various shelves. The problem is when you're building a collection like this is I don't want to administer in 2 places. So I use Goodreads just for I'm currently reading and read, but my wish list, my TBR, what I want to read next, all of those kind of things I'm not doing through Goodreads. So I've added this flag in the original data set, and what I can do now is I can just do true, and then I can see my current data set, which is kind of dynamic, right? So I actually add to my TBR based on recommendations through the channel. I've been doing that for the last at least few weeks. So the good thing is I'm just about to finish my 10th book in my 10-book challenge. It's really good, by the way. And then I want to go to this TBR to choose what I want to read. I think I've got in my head what I want to read. But so if I click on true here, again, I can see, okay, what's in my TBR? So I've got this Science Fiction Hall of Fame. It's gone a bit crazy up here because I've got 24 books in my TBR. Luckily, they're all they're all good enough, which kind of backfires. If there's a need upgrade, that's one you read, right? As long as it's got full pages. The good enough might be quite collectible and mint, and I have to question if I read it or not. I have to be very careful. The interesting thing here is, as well, is I haven't done, you see this is the date of acquisition. It used to be the week number. So 2025, week 10, 2020, whatever. I've now changed it to month because it's a more valid stat to what I'm looking at. But this actually shows me of my 24 on my TBR, I haven't added the dates for all of them, but in the last 4 months, let's say, what's that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 of them are recent acquisitions. So that's based on a haul maybe, and someone on my channel saying you've got to read that. And then looking at them, depending on if I've got them here, like I can actually, obviously, like I said, see the covers. So people have told me, Dangerous Visions, many people have told me, I've had this copy for a while, which is the Berkeley edition. And I've got, again, Dangerous Visions on here as well. The Difference Engine, someone very recently said, you've got to try that, great. Empire of Silence, a more modern one that I bought a couple of months ago, I think. I can actually look at that. If I click this, it should tell me, because it's a recent one. Okay, it was before I started. But I could do that. And basically, yeah, I want to read that. Everyone's told me. Service Model, I want to read Tchaikovsky. People have told me don't read that first, read Children of Time first, but I'm kind of going to read that, I think, because it's a shorter book, etc. And it's, I think I got that before. Consider Phlebas, of course, I've got to start reading. Banks. Star Rider, because this was mentioned literally in the last hauls, that this is really good. Someone said this was really good. Million Year Spree, just for something a bit different. And then Zabrowski, because of various recommendations, Macaulay. So it's a really nice, for me, a really nice thing. I just launch this visualization. I then click on here and I choose one. I'd love to do like the Sci-Fi Scavenger, roll a die kind of thing and choose it that way. I'm not at that level yet, but yeah, just really interesting here. So then this is one here. So Overlay came quite recently, so this should show you what I want. Yes, so I got that in September. I actually, sorry, I didn't see, but I added the date here, which is good. So within September, it's actually got the day, and this is the book that I've got specifically. So TBR, kind of major new feature for me, and will be used at least on every book that I finish, right? And just to note, this is only science fiction, obviously, right? So I do read other things. I've read quite a few. I always read quite a few graphic novels. I don't put comics on my read, but graphic novels and omnibus. I read poetry and classics. My mum actually bought me a lovely signed, from a charity shop, poetry book the other day, which was really good. And that's pretty much it, I think. The only thing in terms of the changes is the underlying data, as I said. So an important thing for me to check is, well, from when I did it in August, what's happened? And you can see it's going down, and it's deliberately going down. I think naturally it will go down after I got lots of big hauls and I'm starting to build a collection. Is you become more strict on what you acquire, but also there's less out there. Now, we're lucky in our hobby that it's almost never ending in terms of editions, authors, years of publication. There's so many parameters and variables that you can use to build your collection. But the interesting thing for me is this 1472 grew from 1242 since my last check-in. So that's with the additions and the minus. I've gained 230 books, let's say. And you can see that through here. I don't know what date I did it in August, but you can kind of see that through here. And of those, I think it was 1109 that I wrote down. So it's nearly 200 forever for my collection. So if you think about it, it's 2 months. I've been acquiring, let's say, on average 100 books per month that will be in my science fiction retirement library collection forever, basically. So yeah, really good. That's pretty much all I wanted to show you. I won't do this because there's a bit of a surprise coming up I think it's on a later video after this one, but just keep an eye out for a mini haul basically that I got, where there was a surprise that I wasn't expecting, and it was very, very cheap. It was either the 57p or the 75p haul, but I won't range on this yet because you'll see the book because it's already added and the video's coming later. So yeah, please reach out, any questions. I was thinking about publishing this, like making this not my library published, but the model behind it, which is, it's very simple if you know Power BI and data sources. The issue I've got with it is, if I do that, does it become some kind of IT support thing? But if you've got any questions or how I do certain things, or you want help with your own library analytics or whatever it is, and most people are very specific about how they want to track, how they want to represent, how they want to question. and analyze. So I'm not jumping in on that. That's perfectly fine. It's a very specific personal thing. But if you did have any questions, then please let me know. But yeah, so check in version 2. This is a constant thing that will move forever, for sure. So version 3, I've got a couple of bugs that I know about. New features, not so sure about, but this is multi-tab, so I can jump in more and more. The only other thing I didn't add yet, but I have got, did I add it here? Maybe I added it across here. Nearly forgot, is, so here, notes, look, Robot Porter on YouTube said, read this one first. So I've got the notes. But the other thing I wanted is the location. Sorry, that was a new feature, I think, from the last one. Sorry if I forgot that. So here, I haven't got a lot of locations set up yet, but SL is storage locker, right? So storage locker box A isn't a big box, but I've got 74 books in there, right? And then under bed, and I've only got one bed with stuff under it at the moment, I've got 102 books. So this will become more, this is a part that will grow for sure, is the location. So sorry, I forgot that right at the end, and I wanted to share it with you. So yes, please reach out, ask me any questions, something a bit different for what we normally do in terms of the hauls, reviews, etc. And I'm going to be doing a big giveaway soon. For the top 10 books that I've read of all time, and I'm going to do a giveaway of each of those books. So look out for that, and thank you as always for supporting me on this journey towards 1,472 books so far. Cheers.